What does your bank statement say about you when you look at it? Where do you give to? What do you spend your money on? God loves a cheerful giver, and He wants us to give with joy. I've been actually studying the subject of generosity over the last, I think, 4 weeks or something. First, I was writing a paper for my university because I'm studying theology and biblical counseling, and I was studying the difference between the tithe in the Old Testament and the tithe, or what came out of it, in the New Testament. And something that I wasn't even aware of before was that in the Old Testament, actually, when you sum everything up, the people were giving around 23% to different kinds of causes. So that was their tithe. And in the New Testament, the tithe doesn't really exist in the way that a lot of times we hear it preached about. There's no clear direction of having to give 10%. However, there is direction that we are giving to the church cheerfully, that we're giving so that the preacher and the teacher that actually teaches us about God can be supported, so that they can make a living of actually teaching and preaching and tending to Jesus' sheep. So that is definitely something that is still there, that still remains. And then we are also called to, though, to give cheerfully to other causes, to give cheerfully to the poor and to the ones that are less fortunate than us, and also maybe to give to other things like missions, or whatever our heart feels inclined to give towards. And I think that's something that is very much between us and the Lord, so something that we need to be prayerful about, need to pray to Jesus to, and ask Him what He wants us to give towards. And I definitely, looking at my bank statement, realized that I'm definitely far from being a very generous person, and I think there's so much room for me to improve. And yet I noticed that I have taken small steps in the past couple of years, but I would love to be more generous. I would love to actually see that on my bank statement and to truly be one of God's cheerful givers. And so I am currently praying to God and asking Him, hey, how can I do this? How do you want me to do this? Where do you want me to give towards? And how can I not feel a tightness around that? Or maybe am I supposed to feel a tightness around that and still give, because I know that nothing is mine anyways, because I am only stewarding what God owns. I think that is also very convicting. Nothing that we give, we own. So basically, even when you give to the church, it's only that you keep something for yourself, but the rest is anyway God. So you're not really giving something of yours away. It's very interesting to think about that in that way. I just wanted to share that because actually we are going to talk about this subject now at Table Community as well, which is kind of like the style of home group that we have at my church. And it's also been something that came up a lot in prayer recently. So maybe it's something that resonates with you, something that you want to pray about and maybe read into in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and just something to look at. And maybe you also want to look at your bank statement and see what you value. Might just be very interesting.